Hey, good morning, Twitch. And I'm back, and I'm not muted, and we're here with some more live coding on this Tuesday morning. This is episode 32. We've got a whole bunch of stuff we can cover today, so we're kind of just all over the place a little bit today. We're going to be working in Visual Studio a lot. I might start off by showing you some of the refactoring I did for the chatbot using Mediatr, which is pretty darn cool. It's a it's a way to implement CQRS pattern in your .NET application. So interesting. I've never used it before, but I started using it for the bot after some of the older episodes ran into some issues with my own sort of handmade framework. And we'll make it some SignalR type stuff. I experiment with it a little bit to do some stuff with the chatbot to make things happen on the screen around you here. Try to make the channel here a little more interactive, a little more fun. And I've got some actual work here to do with the Scavenger Hunt app, which I've stopped calling a Scavenger Hunt, calling it the Digital Challenge. But I've got an event coming up where I'm going to need to use this, and so I need to get this polished, get this ready to go, get it in production, and get the actual content for the event created, make sure it's tested and all that kind of stuff. So I've deployed it to Azure already. It's not quite working yet. Some things I have to do, but I'm going to run Scavenger Hunt locally, but connected to the production database, which this is not really a good practice, right? I should have a staging database and stuff like that, but this is a promo app for event booths, so it's not super critical that we do all that kind of stuff. All right, if you're new to the stream, this is my motto. Ask away any question you'd like to. I will not consider it a stupid question unless you don't ask it. And I think you need to ask questions. That's how you learn. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be afraid of seeming like you don't know enough or know anything. I mean, that's not a attitude that's welcome in this channel. So ask away. Even the most basic of questions, ask away, and I will answer. I'm part of Team Live Coders, and let me just bring them up here on Twitch. I expect this to be kind of a slow day for streaming, although that's definitely not the case. The .NET conference is going on this week, so that's an online virtual conference. And that doesn't start till like noon Eastern time, I think, something like that. It starts 9 Pacific time. So, does that sound right? Yeah, I think that's right. So if I look at the old time zones here, yeah, it's 7 right now in Pacific time. So that'll start in 2 hours from now. Just about when I'm wrapping up my stream. But anyway, I'm part of this live coding team. These are all live coders who stream about live code on Twitch. There's 81 of us right now. And I'm getting text messages, so let me just mute my phone here a little bit. But you can see all these other developers doing all kinds of interesting stuff. And we can raid one of these later when our session's over. Although, like I said, by the end of the session, maybe we'll just raid the Visual Studio channel because that's where the conference is being held. Although they probably won't respond to a raid because they're dealing with lots of logistics and channels and things like that. Anyway, if you're looking for live coding stuff, check out twitch.tv/live-coders. You're going to find someone there who's doing some cool stuff with streaming and live coding. Also, if you're looking for someone else, another list of resources, check out github/bnb/awesome developer streams. This is a big old text file full of developers who are streaming on all kinds of different platforms, Twitch or Mixer or Facebook or what have you. And it looks like this has been updated recently. So let's just do a quick search here to see who's streaming about data, which is what I'm interested in, databases. So Liz Phillips, we knew about her already. There's myself, Matt Groves. I do a lot of Couchbase, database, SQL, and then .NET backend stuff, .NET ASP.NET, things like that. Rachel Tapman, knew about her. Shirley Wu, yes. Ted Young, yes. Go Maestro Go. Jack Mott. Yep, so nobody new in the data area, but if you're looking for a topic of your own, you can just do Control F here and search for, oh, who's doing any streaming on Haskell? Whoops. Oh, so Brian McKenna is doing Haskell, Jeffrey Huntley, Soding, T Soding, whoever. So if you're interested in a topic, you can just do Control F and find someone who's streaming. All right, if you're looking for old videos of this here channel, you can go to bit.ly/GrovesTube and find archive of old videos. They're here on Twitch, of course, for a limited period of time, but I also export them over to YouTube, so you can go back the whole history of this show, all 31 episodes of it so far, and check it out. TwitchBot is currently on right now. It's running here in the command line. I always forget if it's .NET Start or .NET Run, so ignore that error message. But right now it's just recording your chat messages as they come in, and you can also hit bang help, exclamation point help, and you get a list of other commands, and we can also just see like what the current project is. If I type current project, and yeah, we'll start with the TwitchBot today, but we'll move over to the scavenger hunt here in a little bit. Just want to kind of show you some refactoring I did with the TwitchBot. Also today, I'm going to be in front of the camera pretty much all day today. I've got a presentation coming up. So if you're watching a recording of this, you can still go to this link and get a recording of my presentation. But this presentation will be happening live today at, let's see, this will be 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. So go to this link right here, bit.ly/ASP.NET session. I call it ASP.NET session because I will be giving a webcast, a presentation, a webinar, whatever you want to call it, technical presentation on how to use Couchbase Server as a session store in your ASP.NET Core application, which I think we've talked about on this Twitch stream sometime in the past. But you can check this out. It's going to be pretty technical. I'm going through a lot of code, very similar to what I'm doing here, but a little more formal, have some slides and things like that, because this is the idea with these series of webcasts is that, you know, they don't get a huge audience live as they happen, but people go back to them a lot over and over and over and watch the recordings. So we want it to be relatively structured and watchable for someone who's not participating live. Unlike Twitch here, where it's just Wild West. It's just like, hey, if you have a question in the chat, let's go down that rabbit hole and talk about it. Anyway, this is totally free, so you can sign up. If you're watching live right now, you can sign up at bit.ly/ASP.NET session. Check that out. Here's the long link. This will take you to it directly if you want to go there instead. I'm going to try to read that one out, but bit.ly/ASP.NET session. Go ahead and check that one out. That'll be on today, and you can also get a recording later. I don't know how much later, but later. All right. Okay, so back to the TwitchBot. I was working on this. These are some ideas we had that you in the chat room and myself have come up with to enhance the chatbot a little bit. I've been working on this stuff, but I kind of ran into a wall with the way I was creating my commands for my CQRS pattern. So I decided to see what the fuss is about, and I checked out Jimmy Bogard's Mediatr class, or Mediatr library. It's Mediatr missing the last vowel. That's interesting. But you can see GitHub/jbogard/Mediatr. It's basically kind of what I was doing, just creating a sort of a command query framework to parse these things around. But I was having some trouble because my list of dependencies kept growing and growing, and Mediatr helps me to solve this problem. It can pass all those commands through dependency injection, constructor injection, so I don't have to worry about if I want to add a new dependency or remove a dependency, no big deal. We'll let the dependency injection framework handle this, but I can still pass in a set of parameters to each command by using a command object. So this really is nice, elegant way to deal with it. Now, it might be overkill for a Twitch chatbot, but I kind of wanted to learn how to do it anyway. So let's check it out. Let's open up Visual Studio here, and I'll just kind of walk you through what I've done. I don't think we're going to do actually any coding in this thing right now, so this is just going to be a quick walkthrough just to get you up to date. So yes, I'm enjoying Visual Studio, but I don't want to talk about it right now. Okay. So let's start with setting up Mediatr. This is really simple to do. You say service, so you add Mediatr with NuGet. That's the first thing. Then in configure services, computer's kind of chunking along today. What's going on? You say services.add Mediatr, and then you give it an assembly, and it's going to scan the assembly that you give it for all the what's called handlers, and we'll see what a handler is. But basically, pick a project, or you may have its own project, or maybe this current assembly. It's up to you. But I just passed. I wanted to give it the core assembly, so I passed in the assembly. Get the assembly where this type lives. Matt's chatbot hosted service, so it's going to look at assembly for all the handlers, and that's all I have to do for that. TBD Gamer, good morning to you. How are you? Thanks for stopping in. And the other thing I did was I had to I moved some of this stuff to dependency, to services here. So the Twitch client and the Twitch API wrapper. Previously, those were being instantiated at the hosted service level here, but I've moved those up to this level so that the dependency and the container can grab those. This is pretty standard for if you're doing ASP.NET. You should do this stuff already. And I think that's it. SignalR, ignore that for now. Put mediators in there. So the way Mediatr works is that you have two things here. Can I zoom in on this? You have requests, and you have request handlers. And so a request is just a C# object that inherits from this iRequest interface. And that request interface is pretty much, from what I can tell, it's just a marker interface. It doesn't actually have anything that you have to implement in it. So maybe we could take a little peek at it here. You can see. Okay, yeah, it inherits from a couple interfaces, but these are all marker interfaces from what I can tell. So you can put whatever you want in there. So this is you're correct, just a marker. Oh, so you're familiar with Mediatr, TBD Gamer? Awesome. Cool. So anyway, you can put what you want in these classes. So this is the help command. So you say bang help. And so in order to process this, I'm just having chat message being passed in. Because I may want to change help in the future to be like, you're going to get help for a specific command. So we'll need the entire chat message for that. But otherwise, this is pretty much just a plain C# class. So whenever, okay, so then let me show you, let's go jump over here a little bit. We're jumping around too much. But you kind of remember this. What this was doing before was returning I commands or something like that, right? It was returning classes. Now we're returning these I requests. So I'm passing in the chat message and help. And so these get returned. And then all I need to do, when I have an instantiation of those classes, so I have that help class, I pass that help class as a request to Mediatr. So I've got this Mediatr here. Help, no need. Hey, Sanad Meskin. Thanks for stopping in. I think that should work. So that should send you a whisper, right? Because this is only looking for if it starts with bang help. Yeah, so that should have sent you a whisper with the information. Yeah, which is fine. Okay, so but then it passes this class to Mediatr. So Mediatr then does the hard work. Mediatr, we already told it where to find all of those handlers. So it says, well, I know this class. And is there a handler for this class? And so what I have over here is I've got a help handler. And notice the help handler inherits from iRequest handler of help. And help is the iRequest class that I created over here. So just by passing a help object to Mediatr, it knows, okay, we're going to instantiate this help handler, and we're going to execute this handle method. So you can kind of see the similarities to the CQRS, the command query stuff I was doing before, but there's some things that are better about this. One is that anything that's a constructor parameter here, that's going to be handled by the ASP.NET dependency injection, and it's going to pass those in. So if I need to add another dependency here, some other dependency, foo, I don't have to go and update my chatbot hosted service to deal with that. I do have to update my services collection in ASP.NET Core, but that's pretty standard. And then the other thing that does nicely is that this help object will just be passed into this handle method automatically. And there's this cancellation token, which for the most part I'm ignoring right now, but we don't have to talk about that today. Inside of this code is pretty much the exact same code as we saw before. So this took a little bit of copy and paste to do this refactoring, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run. What I'm getting in is not the chat message itself, but the help class, which contains a chat message. In the future, it could contain more information, which is nice because, again, I don't have to refactor everything. I just have to change the help object, and it'll just sort of be a little envelope of data that gets passed in here. Okay, so that's all I've really changed. I've removed the command and the query namespaces, and I've just replaced them with requests and request handlers. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It was once I figured it out, it was pretty straightforward to do the refactoring. One thing that I thought was a little weird, and I told Jimmy Bogard the same thing, is if we're actually doing, let me see, I want to go to handler. And TBD Gamer, maybe you're familiar with this as well, but if we notice that these are task of units, so these can be asynchronous, I believe, if you need them to be. Maybe that's not a good example. Where's one where I'm actually showing out asynchronous? Yeah, so here's one. So here's one that's asynchronous, and every handle method returns a task of units. All right. Now, if I wanted to, these are all for commands. So commands generally don't return any information. If I wanted to return something, I could say I request handler shout out, and then I could say foo. So then this is not going to be task of unit. It's going to be task of foo, which means it's more like a query. It's going to return something. But even if it's just a command, this is not going to return anything. It's just going to send some messages to the channel. It still has a return type of task of unit. So normally, if I'm creating a void function, a void method, I just do a plain return. I don't have to return anything. But in this case, notice I have to return default. I can also return unit.value would be another option as well. And this is just kind of a quirk. I want to say it's a quirk of Mediatr combined with a quirk of C#, in that Mediatr does not differentiate between commands and queries. Everything is a request for it. You may not actually return a response of any meaning, but everything is a request with a response. So it's not command and query per se. You treat these handlers as part of the command query pattern, basically. But Mediatr itself does not distinguish. So therefore, everything returns a task of something. So therefore, everything must return a task of something. Now, unit is itself a struct, which is not a class. So I can just say return default. It's going to give me a default unit. So instead of saying return here, which just wouldn't work, I had to say return default, which felt a little awkward to me to figure it out in the documentation of Mediatr. Didn't really make this clear to me. Maybe it's my fault. But I didn't read it carefully enough. But that was kind of weird, a little quirk to me, but not a big deal. So notice I have just 4 returns to handle these different edge cases here. Other than that, Mediatr worked out great. It was really easy to get started with, and I'm really happy with it. So I'll continue to use that. The other thing we want to talk about, okay, so let's switch gears to SignalR. And this is just experimental at this point, but one of the things I wanted to try was this is kind of this jokey thing. When Calvin enters the room, it should play the norm sound effect, or maybe even a video, a norm video. So what I wanted to explore was this Twitch client, the onUserJoined event. And this kind of works, okay? So when onUserJoin event happens, okay, we're just going to use the SignalR hub here to send this received arrive message. That message is going to be sent to the browser with the username. So I could put some more logic in here, but I was just trying to test it out, right? So maybe this should say if e.username equals Calvin A. Allen. Only then we'll actually do this. But we're not even there yet. I just wanted to try out the SignalR thing. which, by the way, SignalR stuff is working great. It turns out that this on user joined isn't quite working how I expected it to. And I'm still not 100% sure if this is a Twitch client API issue, if this is a Twitch issue, if this is an IRC issue, or something else. I'm not 100% sure yet. But let me show you how to set up SignalR. And it's extremely easy. So let me maybe first explain what SignalR is. SignalR is a way for the backend to communicate with the front end. So the ASP.NET C# code to communicate with JavaScript, if that makes sense. Because it's relatively easy for JavaScript to communicate with the backend. You can just fire off what used to be called AJAX requests to the backend, fetches and gets and HTTP requests to the backend, right? But if you want something to happen on the backend that would trigger an event on the front end, well, that's a little more difficult to do. You could do some polling. You could always be checking. Let's do a request every 5 seconds. Kind of annoying. Another option is there's some other options that they're like long polling and WebSockets and things like that, which are technology that's better designed to deal with this. And one way to do that in C# and ASP.NET is to use SignalR. And SignalR is an abstraction layer over those communication formats, the WebSockets, the long polling, and others, for you to communicate with a JavaScript page. So all I did is I added SignalR in NuGet, and I said services.add SignalR. That's all I had to do in configure services. And then in configure, I had to say use SignalR, and then I specify a route. And a route is two things. It is a hub class, which we'll get to in a second, and a path. And this path corresponds to a URL on your website. So I have to map a hub to a path. It really doesn't matter what the path is, by the way, at least from what I can tell. This could be anything. This could be obfuscated. But anyway, go to Twitch Hub. So I created a Twitch Hub class. And again, for this point, it's pretty much just at this point, it's just basically a marker. But what you'd put in here is you'd put in methods that you'd want the front end to communicate with the back end, which is not really a big deal, but you kind of want to have it go both ways. But what I want is the back end to communicate with the front end. So I don't need a method here just yet. But what I do need is another thing I added is, this is something weird I learned about, is if you go to the web project here, there's something called libman. Did you add any scripts in the layout? I'll get to that in a second. But I use something called libman to add the SignalR libraries to this web project. I never used libman before in my life. I never heard of it before, but this is well documented. If you go to SignalR, ASP.NET Core, Microsoft documentation, it walks you through how to use libman to do this. Basically, from what I can tell, it's a way of kind of managing scripts that are normally on CDNs. So I don't know. And then in the layout, so by layout, I assume you mean like the actual HTML that gets served up to ASP.NET. It's like bundles. Libman is like bundles. Okay. Coral R with the subscription. Hey Coral, thanks for stopping in. It says %Coral just subscribed with tier 1. I'm not sure what that means, but thank you for the subscription, Coral. On the front end, this is a web page. It basically does nothing right now. But this is what I had to add to the index web page here. So the SignalR JS file, which was added via libman. We could also make this the minified version if we wanted to. And then there's chat.js. So the chat.js defines the logic that I actually need to communicate with the back end. So this is where most of the SignalR work is being done. I create a connection. I think this is the wrong thing. It shouldn't be Chat Hub, right? It should be Twitch Hub. Yep. Twitch is aggressive with the tell everybody you subscribe for X months crap. I guess. I think they want to drive more subscriptions. I mean, kind of want to make some money, I guess. Or should I do the SpongeBob voice there? Is that what you want me to do? Tell everybody you should... Oh, I'm terrible at the SpongeBob voice. I could let's just I'm just gonna pass on that. I already embarrassed myself enough with the Sunday night stream. All right, so yes, in JavaScript world now, this is not C# world. This is JavaScript world. This is our we're creating a hub connection and we're pointing it to a specific URL, and that URL should match the one here. This is kind of I don't really like this that much because I have to have the same string in two places, which is kind of like a magic string sort of thing. But there's probably ways around that. Not a big deal right now. And then once we have that connection, we say start, and then we can add some error handling or some, if you want to run some code after we start the connection or so on. And then in the middle is where you're defining event handling, basically. So if the back end sends a message, and this is, you can call it whatever you want to, I call it receive arrived. So I'm receiving an arrived message from the back end. Then what do? Well, all I did was just get the username that's being passed in here. So this function should match. Where is it? Who codes in a corner while on Twitch TV? Matthew D. Oh. Who codes in a corner while on Twitch TV? Matthew D. Gross. All right. So back on here, if you notice, I'm sending an async here. This is the event name, and these are the parameters. And this can be anything, right? I can add more parameters to this, create a class, whatever I want to. But that corresponds, this signature here roughly corresponds to this signature here. Event name, function with whatever parameters I give. And then my intention is to, of course, do something more grandiose upon entrance. But right now I'm just adding to a list, an unordered list, the name of the person who arrived. Now you can't see this on the screen yet because I haven't added this to my Streamlabs scene, but it would appear as an overlay on front of everything, and then it would show, hey, Calvin has arrived, hey, Coral has arrived, and then I could make it more fancy and play a YouTube video or something like that, which is what I want to get to. All that's working great. It really is. The only thing that's not working how I expect it to is this onUserJoined event. And at Coral, again, I was mentioning before you arrived here that I wasn't sure if this is a problem with the way I'm using it or configuring it, if this is a problem with the way that this Twitch client works, if it's a problem with the way Twitch works, or if it's a problem with the way IRC works. Having come from IRC, I don't think it's the way IRC works. It may be some Twitch variation of it. But Twitch seems to batch up whenever a user joins, and or delay when a user joins, so that this really isn't kind of showing immediately. This isn't really triggering immediately when a person actually joins in the stream. And I'm not really clear either, because there's no exit, there's no quit, there's no leave command in chat. So once they arrive in this channel, when does Twitch actually mark them as gone? So therefore they could arrive. Interesting, it may be Twitch. Another friend of mine coded his own bot and had a similar lag issue with joins. Okay, so it's probably a Twitch sort of thing. Is there an interval that can be set? If there is, I'm not aware of it with this client. Yeah, that's a good question, Sanad. But what I did, I'll go and show this to you. Twitch lib GitHub, something like that. I opened an issue. Was it here? Twitch lib, on Twitch lib client, I think. Yeah. I opened an issue here. And what was it? Join. I thought I opened an issue. Let me look at my email here real quick. Twitch. There it is. Okay. So here is the issue that I opened on TwitchLib, And I would say, if you've not contributed open source before and you're nervous about committing some code, another thing you can do is open issues, open questions, because this can help people understand where gaps are in documentation. It can help them understand, oh, there's maybe a bug here. So it's kind of like a forum / way you can contribute to a project. So I just kind of described my problem here. The on-user join event, am I doing the right thing? And I've got a bit of a mixed response here. So MossApp sort of gives me the definition of what on-user join is, which is what I expected it to be. And I just said that's not the behavior I'm seeing. And then MossApp suggests to use the pre-release because there's some sort of known issue. Okay, but I am using the pre-release version, so I'm not getting to that. And I'm not seeing events hanging either. So then Swifty Spiffy chimes in with something. So this is where he's saying that Twitch sends these updates in bulk, especially for larger channels. Well, I'm not a larger channel, so I don't know if this especially applies to me. So it sends updates in bulk. It used to send it in real time, but it's moved sending in bulk or intervals. So not use these events if you're trying to track in real time, which is kind of a bummer. So I don't know. This might be the best we can do. Then I've just got an outstanding issue that, hey, is there a better way to do this that you suggest? I like to trigger something that happens as user joins the channel, or within a few seconds. If there's a little bit of a lag or delay, that's fine too. Like you're saying, Sanad, maybe there's an interval that I can set, acceptable interval, like it checks every 5-10 seconds or something, or it sends a batch every 5-10 seconds. And then MossApp says it's pretty sure it's a Twitch IRC limitation. This is the part I don't think is true. So this is kind of some useless trivia, but back in the day on IRC, this is where I met Coral. I spent some serious time on IRC. I ran what's called a file server on IRC, which requires you to run scripts. And in those days, we were running MIRC scripts or Merc scripts, however you say it, which were not written in C#. They were written in Merc script, I guess. I don't even remember. And I guess you could probably plug in other languages, but I just use the default. So I remember coding things that on a person's arrival, or maybe someone else coded it. I don't know. We borrowed a lot of scripts and traded scripts back in the day. On person's arrival, you would do something. So I don't think it's an IRC limitation at all. It may be a Twitch-flavored IRC limitation. So anyway, to be determined. But I've got SignalR up and running. It's super easy to do. I'm really happy with it. One thing I also wanted to try with SignalR, because this is a question I got via email, or maybe someone here in this channel asked this, is with Couchbase events. I can create an event on a Couchbase server that responds to a data mutation or a data deletion. But it would be nice if I could then communicate back to the ASP.NET application that, hey, this event was mutated. You can subscribe to that sort of thing. That's not there yet in events, but what I can do is the idea would be, oh, your order is ready. Your order has been shipped. Maybe send a toast message to the user, right? So we don't quite have that there with events yet. I think it'll be coming eventually. But what we do have is the ability to send out HTTP requests from a Couchbase event. So I was thinking kind of a roundabout way. Data comes into Couchbase, it's changed. An event happens. The event sends a request to the ASP.NET website, and then the ASP.NET website sends a SignalR up to the live user to say, with a toast message, hey, your package is just shipped. That sort of thing. Or, hey, someone's just answered your form question. Kind of a roundabout way, but right now that's just kind of a workaround to dealing with events and pushing it up to the user. I thought about trying that out as well. So we may get to that at some point. All right, so that's all that's going on with the chatbot right now. It's just kind of a work in progress. It is running and is recording messages as it's coming in. Your IRC script is nearly 17 years old. Are you still using it? Are you using it on Twitch? That would be pretty rad if I actually could use one of my old fserv scripts or my those jokey scripts on Twitch. I don't think fserv would work. But, I don't know, it might. Send files via Twitch? That'd be pretty wild. I got some Pokemon ROMs you can have, Coral. I wonder. I wonder. You probably still have those Pokemon ROMs, huh? I don't think I have them anymore. If I do, they're on a CD somewhere. A burned CD somewhere. Anyway. Okay. So let's drop the Twitch bot for now. And kind of want to get a cup of coffee. But what I want to look at now is Scavenger Hunt, or as I'm calling it these days, the Couchbase Digital Challenge. So I've talked about this in the past, so we're totally changing gears here now. Oh my. I just noticed. So I'm trying out a green screen. A real green screen behind me now instead of that chroma cam thing. And my shirt, it's a Star Wars version of A Starry Night. And there are some parts of this that are green. And so you can see right through me. Yeah, the edge is a little better. It's still not great. I don't think I have the lighting quite the way I want it to on the green screen. Like my chair still has a bit of a shadow, but I'm working on it. And it doesn't have the watermark anymore, so that's nice. So anyway, here we are. We're at the digital challenge website. So the idea here is I work with Couchbase, and we go to a lot of events, and we're sponsoring, and we have a booth there in the event. And you know, a lot of events basically have different things to get you to learn about. Want you to learn about Couchbase when you come to the event. And so this is an idea that I had, and we did this at one event previously, a couple events actually. And the idea here is it's a interactive digital challenge, and you come up to the booth, and there's a URL or a QR code with the URL, and you would go to that URL, and you would come to this website here. And then for that event, we'd have a specific invite code, and you would enter that invite code in here. So if we're going to all things open, maybe let's say we're going to KCDC, I'd type in KCDC as my invite code, or it might be something more complicated, right? And then once I have that code, I can log in and start answering questions. Let me just take a quick look here, because I've got one for KCDC, but let's get this. Look at this invite only test zone. This is a test zone, right? So I'm going to expire this on. This is expired back in February. Let's expire it later, like tomorrow. Okay, and the invite code will be Twitch code. Okay, so then I go back to home, and let's say I have an invite code, and let's put in Twitch code. Okay, now I have access to this invite only zone. I go to this zone, and once I'm here, there's no actions for this one. Ugh. Boring. Okay. So let's expire this one. What was that, February or something? I've got this test zone here, and this has got some actions. Yes. Test zone. So we'll call this test zone invite code, and we'll expire this one again tomorrow. Okay. All right. So invite code, and we'll do test zone. Okay. So I go to this test zone, and now what I do when I get here is I actually have these questions, these sort of challenges, and I can get points for answering these challenges. So in this case, the answer is pi. We'll submit this one. And okay, I answered correctly, and now I have 100 points. And at the event, at the booth, we'll have a TV set up with the leaderboard. So if I go to leaderboards here, you'll see it's not showing me because I'm an administrator, I think is why I'm not showing up. But it's going to have a list of names here and the points that they've gotten. I might have to double check that one just to make sure that is leaderboard working. Okay, because that's going to be an important thing. But anyway, then I go to another one and I say fill in the blank, and the answer is foo or bar. So I'll hit bar and I'll get another 100 points. So I have 200 points. And so what I need to do is I need to, I've written this application, and what I've written to recently is the login capability. I think I did that on the stream earlier. Well, it now has the nice little icons here. So I can connect, I can log in using GitHub, and I already had the cookie for that, so I logged it on in, but we can simulate it. This one, leaderboard, and GitHub, and it'll take me over to the GitHub site. Oh, it won't. I guess because I have a GitHub. I guess because GitHub has the cookie stored. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You know what a GitHub login page looks like. So what I need to do is I need to actually start creating a zone. Is what I call them, a zone for an event called All Things Open, which will be happening in Raleigh. allthingsopen.org. Not .org. allthingopen. allthingsopen.org. This will be happening in Raleigh, North Carolina, October 13th to 15th. I will be there. I'll be speaking. I'll be at the Couchbase booth. I will be helping run this this event. So we're going to expire this event on 15th. So let's expire on the 16th. And put in a temporary description for now, but what's a good description here? It's going to be win prizes for her completing digital challenges at All Things Open. Okay, and then instructions are, I haven't used Couchbase in a few years. Well, TBD Gamer, now's a good time to get back into Couchbase. Lots of great stuff going on, and we got the Couchbase 6.5 beta happening right now. You can try out all the new cool stuff with Couchbase. This application is actually written on top of Couchbase as well, which shouldn't be surprising for you. So the instructions will be, this is probably where I want to put a logo, like an All Things Open logo. I want to put a Couchbase logo. Justin V.O. Thanks for stopping in, Justin, saying hi, hanging out with us. I'm just working on some digital challenge content for an upcoming event. And so it's going to be instructions are going to be something like answer each or complete each challenge to earn points. This should probably be in a paragraph. You can try each challenge as many times as you like. However, each incorrect response will reduce the number of points you can earn. So the idea here is people don't just, if there's a multiple choice, they don't just click every answer until they get it right. They have to think, well, they can do that, but they won't get as many points as someone who actually puts some careful thought into it. If you have any problems or questions or need any help, please visit the Couchbase booth in the All Things Open Expo area. And to do, we're going to put the, I don't know, booth number, location here. I have that information somewhere. I just don't know it offhand. Okay, the invite code. Probably need to change this, but we'll just call it ATO for now. And I'll save it. Oh, not a public zone, yes. Okay. All right, now one of the things I wanted to do with this that I haven't got around to doing yet is taking challenges from, and I call those actions here in the back end, taking actions or challenges from other previous events and reusing them in new events. So we've got 16 here in KCDC, 11 in this MoneyGram event. I wish I could just task and checkboxes and copy them over to the all things open event. I don't have that functionality just yet, but let's, I'll just sort of copy it over by hand here. So we've got, I've got one called Couchbase Basics 1. And Couchbase is a distributed database. That means that data is stored. And we'll call this one 1. And we'll give you 10 points for this one. Multiple choice. Fire engine on a single machine, in the cloud, on multiple servers joined together in a cluster as JSON. So maybe you can play along here in the chat room. If I told you that Couchbase was a distributed database, where does that mean the data is stored? On a single machine, in the cloud, on multiple servers joined together in a cluster, or it's stored as JSON? So I play some Jeopardy music right now. What do you think the correct answer is? Distributed between multiple disks inside single machine. Not really what we mean by distributed. Good guess, though. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious the answer is multiple servers joined together in a cluster. The cloud is clearly the answer, but I think C. Well, it could live on a cloud, right? So you could have a distributed database in the cloud, but that doesn't, I mean, that's not exactly the, that's sort of a red herring. All right, Couchbase Basics 2. Couchbase is a NoSQL database. What kind of NoSQL database does Couchbase primarily serve as? Now, notice that a lot of these questions are not difficult questions. It's just kind of to gauge, you know, the winner of this gets a prize. So we want it to be someone who's taken some time to learn about Couchbase or knows about Couchbase, knows about NoSQL, and you know, that has more value to us to give away a prize to someone who cares than to just someone who gets a ticket at random. Order field needs to be populated automatically. Yeah, I know, that's another thing I need to worry about. Or, you know, if I want to change the order, it needs to change that for me. Okay, so we have 4 options here. Graph, document. So the question is, what kind of NoSQL database does Couchbase primarily serve as? This would require you to maybe, if you don't know, you could come ask us at the booth, or you could do a quick Google search. But which one of these do you think Couchbase is? The graph, document, wide column, or relational? I will pause for you to consider the answer. Sanad Meskin, B. Yes, that's right. It's a document database. Document is correct. You both get 10 points for that one. All right, Couchbase Basics 3. And these are questions I've already used at KCDC before. This is a little more complicated. As a distributed database, Couchbase is designed to scale horizontally. Couchbase automatically puts data into sections, and I call them sections here. That's not the term that anyone at Couchbase uses, but I wanted to make this question a little more approachable to people. Into sections that can easily be rebalanced evenly among all the nodes in a cluster. These sections are often referred to as blank. This will be the third one, another 10 points, and this will be a fill in the blank now. So, if you were to go to this link here, this is just a link to the documentation. It pretty much gives you the answer. Right there would be the answer for you. But they're called this in Couchbase. They're also called other things in other different types of NoSQL databases. I'm going to put in multiple different options here for fill in the blank. So any one of these answers will be correct. Shards, vbuckets, and I also want to do singular, shard, and vbucket. So if you type in shard or shards, that will still be the correct answer. All right, Couchbase Basics 4. Data in Couchbase can be individually retrieved, updated using. This will be a 5-point question. This will be hopefully relatively easy, especially if you click this link and learn about Couchbase. So again, I'm not trying to teach you an expert course on Couchbase and NoSQL. Just want you to be mildly engaged with what we're doing. I think that's fair. The kind of prizes we're giving out are pretty cool. So this kind of shows you the basics: items, keys, and values. So If you want to get data in Couchbase individually, you can use an address, a vbucket, keys, or URL. Which one do you think is the correct answer? Keys is correct. That's right. Because it's a document database, but it is also a key value store. All right, Couchbase Basics 5. Despite, this is one I get so often as a question, so I just would put it into the challenge. Despite the similar names, Couchbase is not the same as blank. Couchbase Incorporated was created as a merger between Couch1 and Membase. Couchbase Server was initially created as a combination of blank and memcached, but has significantly changed since then. This will be 5, worth 1 point. What do you think I'm talking about in this example? And it's right in the URL, so yes, you're right, CouchDB. But I do want to give multiple options here in case someone gets fancy. So I'll put couch, CouchDB. Why do I have couch in there twice? I don't know. Apache CouchDB is another one that is technically correct. So if they enter any of those 3 answers, by the way, it's a case insensitive. I think it's supposed to be CouchDB. Those will all be correct. So yes, you get 1 point, TBD Gamer. Where are we at? Couchbase Basics 6. Couchbase, this is just kind of a marketing one. Couchbase differs from other NoSQL data offerings in which of the following significant ways? So this is a multiple choice, and I'm giving 6, and this will be 5 points, because, you know, this should be pretty obvious. Once you see what the answers are, I'm going to put in there. So Couchbase is different in the following ways, which is a question we get at the booth a lot as well. Memory first architecture, shared nothing masterless, SQL for querying, built-in full-text search, built-in analytics, mature, offline first mobile database, active capable cross data center replication, or all of the above. Memory foam, yes. It's the first database with memory foam. Very comfortable. Yes, all the above, of course, is the answer. We're just sort of leading you down a path there. All right, what else we got? Stickers. So I had a question about stickers at the booth, because this event we had all the stickers. SQL for querying and document database, something I still need to look at. It's my favorite thing about Couchbase. If you want to do it without, you don't even have to install Couchbase, TBD Gamer. You can just go to, if you just type Nickel in your search engine, this Nickel query language tutorial, it'll just walk you through it. You get a little sandbox here. It shows you how to, all the basics, next lesson, how to write a select, kind of the differences between querying tables and querying JSON documents, and so on. So, yeah, you don't even have to install Couchbase if you want to try this out. So I'll post a link right here for anyone else who wants to check it out too. All right, so the question I have on the left screen here is about stickers. Which of these is not a sticker that's available at the Couchbase booth? You currently tinker with Mongo. I've used Raven. I tried a few projects with Couchbase a few years ago. I'm sorry I haven't frequented your stream. It's okay, TBD Gamer. It's totally fine. That's pretty cool that you've done Mongo, Raven, and you've done some Couchbase. But it sounds like your Couchbase was a few years back. We've added a lot of stuff to it since then. Yeah, Mongo, of course, is very popular. Raven, not super popular, but pretty popular in .NET streams. Or .NET streams, .NET World, I guess. Hey, the Michael Jolly, I thought you said stickers was your favorite part of Couchbase. I was like, wow, this must be some legit stickers. They really are good stickers. And Bhaskar, hey, Matthew Groves, is there a serverless offering for Couchbase? Oh, Bhaskar, another question I get asked a lot. There is not yet a DBAS offering for Couchbase, a serverless database. There will be soon. They will be coming. I can't give you a date, so don't take this as any sort of promise, but I think soon as early as 2020, you might be seeing something publicly available for you to do serverless Couchbase on. So it's coming, Bhaskar, yes. And thanks for stopping in, by the way, Michael Jolly and Bhaskar. All right, so this question, again, this is just kind of a question, so like, people have been to the booth, have they picked up a sticker, that sort of thing. This is just kind of a fun one. So we'll call this one number 7. 5 points for this, multiple choice. And so the question is, which of these is not a sticker that's available at the Couchbase booth? Now, I'm not exactly sure what stickers I'm going to have available, but these are the answers I had last time. So Nickel, Analytics, Kubernetes, and Oracle. So those are 4 options for the sticker you would not find at the Couchbase booth. So which of these do you think is the answer? Which of these stickers do you think we do not have at the Couchbase booth, if you had to guess? And the thing is, there's not actually a booth here in front of you, but which one do you think it isn't at? Yeah, obviously we don't have the Oracle sticker. It was kind of funny because at KCDC, someone did come up and was asking about this question. I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to see which of these stickers you don't have, and I was kind of dumbfounded, like, why do you think we'd have Oracle stickers here? So anyway, that's why it's a 5-pointer. Okay, Couchbase mobile features. So this is one that was written by my colleague Rob Hedgepeth, because he wanted to get some mobile stuff. He's really into the Couchbase mobile database offering, and I'm more of the back-end server guy, but Couchbase has a mobile database offering too. Which of the following is a feature? Did we win Twitch? Oh yeah, Michael Jolly, you win 5 points. I may run this type of event for a future like online digital event. Actually, that's one of the things I'd like to do, is make this a digital event, like a public event. What do they mean with mobile? So Couchbase mobile, we're talking, yeah, you want to win a t-shirt? Oh, sure. Dude, I can send you a t-shirt. You don't have to win one. I'm talking serious prizes. Like we give away like NES Classics and C64 minis and stuff like that at the event. So what do you mean by mobile? So with mobile, I mean like iOS, Android, Xamarin, that sort of thing. And so socks, we have some Couchbase socks. We gave away socks. We're just at Oracle Open World. We're exhibiting there, and we're getting out socks to lots of people. I don't have any. I have 1 pair for myself, but we have some more socks. If you want me to, I'll hold back some socks and send them off to y'all. So Couchbase makes a mobile database. So this will be number 8. We'll make it a 10-pointer and multiple choice. You've got plenty of socks. Oh, so it's just Robert tables. So which of the following is a feature of Couchbase Mobile? So nickel querying, peer-to-peer replication, full text search, predictive querying using machine learning models, or all of the above. Which of those do you think that Couchbase Mobile databases include as a feature? Again, these quizzes are not meant to tax your brain. We fully understand you're at a conference, you've got a lot going on, but we figured if there's a dull moment in a session, you might want to just earn some points and get some prizes. Yes, all of the above is the answer. Couchbase Mobile has all of these things built in. That's true. It is true. It has all those things. Okay, let's Couchbase SDKs is the next one. So Couchbase offers official SDKs for a variety of languages. Name one of them. And this one I'll actually give you 15 points for it because it's a fill in the blank. So many technologies, so little time. You're telling me, TBD Gamer. I mean, Couchbase alone. I've been at Couchbase for over 3.5 years. I still learn new stuff about Couchbase like every week. Like, oh, we can do that? Oh, it works that way? Oh, that's really interesting. All right, so all I want you to do here is enter a language, a programming language that you use, or that Couchbase officially supports. So some possible answers, as you should know already, C#, .NET. Java is also in there. And I put Node, and I put Node.js, and I put Node.js. I want all those answers to work. What else do you think might be on there? And of course, if you go to this link, you'll see the whole list of them. But the other options are PHP, Python. Hey, Coding Gorilla, thanks for hanging out. Good to see you again. C, C++. And then for Go, I say Go and Golang. So I believe these are all the official SDKs that we support, although no, that's not correct. We've added a new one recently, Scala. That's, I think, in beta, but it's still an officially supported one. Well, it will be when it's out of beta. So I'll put Scala in there as well. So those are all of them. JavaScript. So that'll be under the node. I don't know if saying JavaScript would be accurate. I mean, it is Node, but I guess I could put JavaScript in there. JavaScript. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be stingy with points. This is the link that that's in the hint that Bhaskar gave me. So basically, oh, it's an alpha, not beta. So basically, if you went to this link, you would see the answer, pretty much. No Cold Fusion support, are you even trying? Michael Jolly, you laugh about that. You laugh. But this is not officially supported by Couchbase, but there is a company called Orta Solutions. These guys are huge in the Cold Fusion space, and they have created a community-backed, open-source Cold Fusion library for Couchbase support. And I say this because we actually sponsored their conference in Texas once. I'll tell you what, Cold Fusion is, I know it's a joke, right? It's a punchline. There's some cool stuff going on in the Cold Fusion world. It's a lot more open source. It's a lot less coupled to Adobe these days. It's still an active thing. People are still writing new stuff in Cold Fusion. So, yeah. Here's a dare for you. I dare you to go on Twitter and say, make a Cold Fusion joke. And I guarantee you, unless he's on vacation, within an hour, you're going to get tweets from Brad, who is like the Cold Fusion developer evangelist guy. And he's going to be on you, and he's going to be telling you all the cool stuff that they're doing in Cold Fusion. So, yes. Dan Vega and Raymond Camden will respond as well. I'm guessing they either all know each other or all know of Orta Solutions. I'll do it because no one would see it since I'm nobody on Twitter. I'm telling you, he's not following everybody. He's just looking for the Cold Fusion keyword. So, all right, so we'll leave JavaScript there as a possible answer. Technically speaking, it's just Node support. It's not JavaScript in general, but I think that's probably fair. All right, okay. This is a new one. This is going to be SQL for NoSQL 1. What is the name of Couchbase's SQL implementation? And technically, it's a SQL++ implementation. But I'll just put SQL in there because I'm not trying to confuse people anymore than they already are. What is this? A raid? Pixel Logic. Oh no, everybody, we're being raided. Quick, send Calvin up to defend us. Oh, that's not Calvin. And if subscribers, send up Calvin, bada bing, bada boom. Thank you so much for the raid, Pixel Logic Dev. I appreciate it. I don't know what rip the bun means. Bing, bada boom. But thank you for the follow and thank you for the raid. Bonecracker666, your name is awesome. Thank you for joining us. Rip the bun. Thank you for the follow, Light Apollo TV. You've joined just in time. We're playing a little bit of kind of an interactive trivia game here. There's no real stakes right now. This is actually just kind of my job at this point is to load up content for an upcoming event. But if you want to play along, just type your answer there in the chat room. This one will be the 10th question, worth 10 points. This will be a fill in the blank. So, what is the name of Couchbase's SQL implementation? And again, if you just click on this link, or if you just look at the URL, is it Roger? It's not Roger. Man, your new follow scene always makes me want cheeseburgers. You know what? It's a little early for cheeseburgers here, but I agree. I do like a cheeseburger. That's right, Bhaskar. The answer is nickel. N1QL. You say it as nickel. That is the correct pronunciation. That stands for non-first normal form query language. It's query for JSON, SQL for JSON. I also accept SQL++ as an answer as well, because that's fair. Nickel is an implementation of SQL++, just like Transact SQL is an implementation of SQL. PL SQL is an implementation of SQL. Nickel is an implementation of SQL++. All right, what's next? SQL for NoSQL 2. This is a good one. Which of the following, it's never too early for cheeseburgers. I agree with that. I kind of agree with that. I'm not really a breakfast person. But if there's a cheeseburger handy for breakfast, I'm not going to turn it down. If I'm going to Burger King for breakfast, though, you know I'm going to get those hash browns. Which of the following SQL keywords are available in Couchbase's SQL implementation? So my motivation for this question is just to point out that the SQL implementation is not a joke. It's not a token implementation. You know, if you've ever looked at like Cosmos DB or Cassandra CQL or other languages like that, it looks SQL-ish. But does it have the join keyword? Does it have the group by keyword? Does it have updates? Does it have limits? Does it have create index? Does it have like? Those are the things that I think of when I think of SQL, that you can really get some stuff done in SQL. Or does it have all the above? So which do you think is the correct answer for my loaded question here? Which of the following SQL keywords are available in Couchbase's SQL implementation? Couchbase, by the way, a document database, a JSON database, NoSQL database, but it has SQL, as we've discovered here today. So which do you think is the correct answer? I'm going to go with all the above once more. That's right, TBD Gamer. We're really not trying to stretch people's brains in these quizzes. We're just trying to get them to learn a little bit about Couchbase, have a little bit of fun, and win some prizes. All right, this one is a more visual one. So I'm going to have to show you the graphic here on the screen. But here, let me see if this still works. Yeah, so here is let's call this an architectural diagram. All right, we got a mobile device, synchronization, and a JSON database in the cloud there. And so this one is going to be worth more points. We're going to call this one 20. And so the idea here is I need you to match up the answer with the letter. So A, B, and C. So let's just say B, A, C. So which one do you think? There's no, the problem with this question is that there's no link to the documentation for you to find this stuff. So I'm just going to give away the answer here. The middle part there, B, is called Sync Gateway. The A here is called Couchbase Lite. Hey, Calvin, what's going on? Converted from a Twitch Prime sub to a Tier 1 sub. I don't know what that means, but thank you for it. And Couchbase Server is the C part right here. So these are not labeled, and you just need to choose which one it is. Now this is more of, oh, I got to get rid of this one. This one is more of a drop-down sort of thing, so you could select the one you want. Actually, maybe I can just show this to you. No, not test zone. I want to do ATO. All things open. You canceled Amazon Prime, so you have to convert. Oh, what did you cancel Amazon Prime for? Right, so here, this example here, you know, I get so much value out of Prime between Prime Video and Twitch and free shipping and all that kind of stuff. But thanks for stopping in, Calvin. So yeah, you choose from the answers here, A, B, or C. Which one do you think matches up with the diagram there? You spend too much money on crap. Well, don't we all? Don't we all? Canceling Amazon Prime doesn't stop you from buying things on Amazon, though. Just FYI, Calvin. All right. So this next one is called Couchbase Speaker at KCDC. And this one is not going to work for all things open. So we're going to call this one Couchbase speaker at all things open. And we're going to say, Matthew Groves from Couchbase is a speaker at, and plus all things open. So we're going to have a link to all things open. This is a way for us to kind of link to the conference and give them a shout out as well. I know for sure, Calvin, you spent a lot this year on Manning. No kidding, Calvin. You probably are buried in books at this point. You keep them in business. I believe you even bought a copy of my book, which 7 years too late, but thank you for that. So there's not really a... Oh, there's a schedule. So I'm looking for, I think. Yeah, so I believe I'm on Friday? Yes, I'm on Friday. So this is a good link right here. So we're going to post this in here. Matthew Groves from Couchbase is a speaker at All Things Open. His topic is... What is my topic? Introduction to SQL++ for big data, same language, more power. This is going to be all caps. Ugh. Okay. I've had multiple copies of your book, actually. What? I had one after it first came out. Then I got rid of all my books. Then I got sucked back into the book collecting. When you say you get rid of the books, what did you do? Did you just donate it to some poor Goodwill somewhere? And now they've got a copy of Aspect-Oriented Programming in .NET that no one's going to buy? Okay. I don't like this fully caps thing here. Can I get the... I just want to select this text. I donate them to half-price books usually. Oh, okay. So, or sell them if they'll give me anything. So the idea here is they go to the All Things Open website and they can see that I'm giving a presentation and they can see when it is. And so this is kind of a way of me also promoting that I'm also speaking at this this conference. And it will be, and this to know what time it is. So it'll be October 15th at 4:15. Excuse me, October 15th at 4:15 p.m. But the room number, let's just say on Friday at 4:15 p.m. So I want them to give me the room number as the answer. So it is room 204. So this will also be a fill in the blank. 204. Textbooks don't usually bring in anything. That kind of makes sense because a lot of tech books are really, they get dated quickly. So there's obviously exceptions to that rule, like domain-driven design and clean code and stuff like that, test-driven development. There's this tech book. I don't know if they call this one a tech book or not. I still haven't opened this. Still in the package. This is a book about John von Neumann, who, if you don't know who he is, you should definitely look him up and learn about him because he's a genius, and he created a lot of stuff that you probably didn't realize that this guy created. Game theory, a lot of modern computer science is influenced by John von Neumann. Nuclear deterrence, and a lot more. But I still haven't opened the darn book. But this one was like, on Amazon, this is like $200, $300 or something. And I found this in an actual Powell's bookstore in Portland for $21. I had to get it because it was just such a good deal. You buy the long-lasting books on theory. You always buy books from people you know. Yeah, well, I like to think that my book kind of holds up because there's not a huge amount of innovation in aspect-oriented programming. Now, it's very specific to a few frameworks, and so some of the code examples might not hold up. But I like to think my book, can kind of at least partially hold up in the long term. You never gotten your head around AOP? Well, that's fair enough. That's one of the reasons I wrote the book, is because a lot of the books and material around AOP, at least at the time, were very complicated sounding. But let me tell you, TBD Gamer, chances are, and I told this to everybody that I talked about AOP, chances are you're already doing some AOP in code that you're writing, and you just don't realize it, or you just don't call it that. So if you ever use an action filter in MVC, if you ever used a HTTP handler in ASP.NET, that's just type of AOP. That's just AOP is built into the framework. So anything that allows you to write, execute code before something and after something, that sort of extension point is AOP, most of the time. And there's more complicated things around it and all these terms and stuff. But yeah, anyway, all right, let's. I got to give some points here. So, what is the location, room number? 5 points for this one. That's an easy one to get. Okay, sync gateway. So this one is more about mobile again. So about conflict resolutions. So here's a link. This is about when you sync data from your phone to the cloud, to your data center. You do the syncing because your phone may go offline at some point. It may not have internet connection. So therefore, you may have conflicts at some point. So how are conflicts resolved within Sync Gateway 2.0? This question may be out of date because we've released versions since then. But the word we're looking for there is automatically. And I'll also accept automatic as an answer. All right, so how are we doing? All right. This next question, this will be the last one, is a question about writing SQL. And I'm going to give this one a higher point value of 35 points, probably the biggest points. And so the idea here is that you need to write a SQL query, and you're going to write a query in such a way that it's going to return this or this as a result. And I'll just show you this in the final form so you can kind of get a better idea of it. But basically, I want you to, I've given you a sandbox here, basically, a SQL sandbox. I want you to find the document key for the United Airlines document. Your result set should have a single field projected called ID. For example, it would look like this, ID airline 5555. Now, that's not what the answer is, but that's an example. And then I give a lot of hints. And I think I'm pretty much giving everything you need to answer it here. And there's also a link to an online tutorial. But you can alias a dataset name, just like a table. So I can say select f.bar from foo and alias foo as f. Select the key. I use the meta function. This is kind of a weird part, but select meta fid. So let's just start with that because I do want to get the key. .id. And it is called, the data set is named travel, so we're going to select from travel. Let's alias that as T. All airline documents have a name field where T.name, and I can use like, and so I can say like United Airlines, something like that, and that should probably do it. So I'll hit the submit button here, and what happens? It's going to actually run this query against a real database, and I did it. Got it correct. So this one takes a little more effort. This one takes a little bit of thought to write a SQL query out, and against NoSQL data, it's a little weird, but it's worth it to get more points. And you can keep trying it as much as you want to. Once you get it right, you can still keep playing with it. You won't get docked any points. So that's what I've got so far. That's 15 questions, and one thing I never really did either, which is a feature that might be nice to have, is to know what the maximum number of points are in the total quiz. Now, if you get to the leaderboard at the booth, you'll see that, which again, the leaderboard's not showing up, but you'll see the people at the top. You'll get a rough idea of what the maximum points are. People love leaderboards at events, though. They'll come back to the booth multiple times to see who's winning, where they are, and the standings, things like that. And I think having a leaderboard is pretty good incentive enough, but mostly people get involved because we give away some good prizes for the people who are the top 1 or 2 or 3 on the leaderboard. So we gave away 2 Commodore 64 minis. Have you seen these before? Commodore 64 minis. It's kind of like the NES Classic, or SNES Classic sort of thing, but it's a Commodore 64, and it comes with 64 games, including BASIC is one of the games that comes with it. Now, this keyboard that you see here is not a working keyboard. This is just for show. This is you can play all the games with the joystick, and you can actually plug a real keyboard into it if you want to actually do some real typing, like for the basic programming. But you can hook this up to your modern TV and play Commodore 64 games on it. I never had a Commodore 64, so I don't really recognize many of these games, but there's BASIC, for instance. I don't know what that one is. That's Skate or Die, I think. Or California Games, more likely. That's California Games, I think. I don't know what that one is. There's BASIC again. It has 64 games in there, lots of cool stuff. That one is some sort of space shooter, I don't know. You had the VIC-20. I think I used to have a VIC-20. I think I gave it away or sold it to my brother. And I had probably, I don't know, half dozen cartridges for it. So, I don't know, we might give these away, and all things open, might give away something else. We don't know yet. I'm not sure. That's still to be determined. But there we go. We've got the content created mostly for All Things Open. You commode guys. Whoa, man, coming in hot, Coding Gorilla. Atari 800 XL Forever. I never had one of those either. Here's what I had, and I'm sure a lot of people had this. Is the TRS-80. Specifically, I had this one, the little chiclet keyboard with the silver case, and I had I don't think we had any cartridges for it. See, Coding Gorilla, that's not called for, man. Don't call this thing trash. It was a great computer. This is the first computer I coded for. But yeah, people called it the Trash 80 because it was inexpensive and you got it at Radio Shack and whatever. I don't think I had any cartridges for it. We did have a cassette tape drive. We loaded up some games from cassette tapes. I don't quite remember though. And it had like a weird, I don't want to call it a monitor. I don't want to call it a TV either, but I think it was a TV that you'd connect it to. But it was dedicated just to this computer and would sit on top of it right here, I think. Or put it on a shelf. I don't know. I was like 6 years old, so I don't know. The Atari XL, 800 XL was so superior. Atari 800 XL. I mean, I'll take your word for it. I never had one of those either. This is I guess what we're looking at here. Yeah, looks kind of similar. So you get a floppy drive for it. I think all the other ones had floppy drive add-ons as well. Yep. All right, well, that's kind of it. All I had planned, I think. We showed off, we showed off Mediatr. I refactored my bot with Mediatr. A little bit of SignalR and some issue there. I'll look into that some more. Did some scavenger hunt content. Had real fun playing some trivia type of thing with y'all, even though it was just kind of impromptu and there was no real stakes. A reminder, though, if you want to, later today I'll be giving a live webcast online session. It'll be a little more formal than what you see here, but I'm doing some .NET sessions in the next month or so. These are official Couchbase ones. So if you want to check this out, it's free. Go to bit.ly/ASP.NET session. It is case sensitive, so I'll put that in the chat here. You can check that out. I'll be talking about how to use Couchbase as a ASP.NET session store, which is a great way to introduce your application to NoSQL, by the way. You don't have to ditch your primary database. You can, almost everyone uses session. So if you're scaling out your web app, you typically want to use a separate database for session or a separate memory store. And this session is going to tell you why you should investigate Couchbase and how you would use Couchbase to do that. So interested, check that out. You also sign up for the next one I'll be doing October 1st, which is a week from today, on Profile, using ASP.NET and Couchbase Server to create a user profile store, which is another good use case for a NoSQL database. You can take off just a slice of your application and store your user profile in there. User profile is something that is accessed over and over and over again, so it's a great use case especially as your website scales out, scales up, to put some NoSQL data in there. So you can sign up for those. Those are official webinars from Couchbase later today. This one starts at 11 Pacific, which is 2 o'clock Eastern time, U.S. Eastern time. So you can sign up for those and check those out. The recordings will be available of those at some point afterwards. But, if you all want to stop by and say hi and ask a question, that would be awesome. I would really appreciate that. I also understand that .NET conference is going on today, so that's going to be a conflict as well. If you're interested in that, totally fine. But like I said, the video will be posted later, so you can check that out. What else? What else we got going on? Yeah, we didn't do much with the chatbot today. We just looked at the mediator pattern. But we can look into some of these things. So maybe we can put this on the back burner, the norm soundbite for Calvin when he enters. We could definitely do the laugh or the rim shot or the badum-tsh commands to the chatbot later if we get some time later. So we created the All Things Open event. I did want to do some more work with this, but we can skip that on the stream today. Just a little bit of polishing for the admin side, and login page is already spruced up enough, I think. I wrote my own mediator without knowing it existed. I got introduced to it by my chat mediator. Oh, by my chat. Mediator is great. Yeah, it's a great little library for doing this kind of stuff. It takes a lot of the work away. I sort of did the same thing, TBD Gamer. I kind of started writing my own mediator a little bit and just kind of ran into some limitations of it, and I thought it'd be good to explore Mediator. Sometimes that's a good approach, to just try to write something yourself, see how it works, and then you can kind of understand the reasons why you would use a existing library better than just jumping into it because I've heard this Mediator thing, I'll try it out because I've heard about it. But it's better to jump into something with a little more knowledge about why it's useful. When are we opening C# Advent this time? We're including 3 slots this time. Okay, so good question, Bhaskar. And I thought I'd actually bring this up on the .NET Bytes podcast, which I'll be recording with Calvin tomorrow. But you can find this podcast here at .NETbytes.fm. We discuss bi-weekly, I think, is the correct way to say it. Every other week, we discuss the latest in .NET news and .NET ecosystem stuff. I'll be talking about this one tomorrow. Calvin, I've got a lot of stuff in my list, and because of all the announcements, this might be a jumbo-sized episode. But I thought we would talk about the C# Advents. So C# Advent, if you're not familiar with this, is something I've done the last 2 years. Yeah, well, I'm sure we overlap a lot. Actually, I started using Pocket, Calvin, to collect links because it was just getting hard for me to manage all this stuff. C# Advent. So second C# Advent. What this is that I open up a calendar, 25 days, December 1st to December 25th, and I get people to volunteer to write a blog post that's C# related, and they'll post their blog post on the day they pick. So you'll have 25 days of C# content, C# blogs in December leading up to Christmas. Now, last year I opened it up to 2 slots a day, so you could have, in this case, December 1st was Lucas and Steve doing 2 blog posts. So you had 2 blog posts every day. The podcast is .NET Bytes TBD Gamer. It's that link right there, .NETbytes.fm. That's myself and Calvin. Calvin does most of the work on that podcast. So I would call it Calvin's podcast, not mine. But we are both on it. Calvin A. Allen there. We should launch a C#Advent.net. Maybe. I was thinking about there's a .Christmas subdomain. I thought about maybe picking that one up. It's a little expensive. Thanks for the subscription, TBD Gamer. We've got some episodes in there. You can kind of listen to past episodes, but it is kind of a news and notes channel, so it might be a little dated sometimes. But one of my favorite things about the podcast is Project of the Week, where we talk about an open source project and we highlight it and suggest people check it out and contribute to it and whatnot. That is something that's, I think, perennial. That'll stand the test of time. But it is mainly a news and what's new this last 2 weeks kind of podcast. Anywho, I've got a project of the week for this week, Calvin. If you don't have one picked. You can take mine. I think it's a pretty obvious choice, actually. Anyway, Baskar's question: when are we going to open this up this year? So let me tell you this right now. If you're interested in doing this, and you're watching this stream right now, go ahead and send me a message, and I'll get you on like a pre-registration list. As a little extra benefit to my loyal Twitch audience. But I also open up the calendar to people who are previous year's authors. They kind of get preferential treatment to pick a day going forward. But don't worry, there's plenty of slots open. I had kind of planned on doing this. Let me look at my calendar. I kind of planned on opening this up. Let's see. I thought I had it on my calendar somewhere. Oh yeah, so I was thinking about opening it up on like the late October, because that gives you October. It gives you some part of October and most of November, and then some part of December to write your blog post. So that's what I was thinking. We might go a little early. Baskar, since you're a previous year author, I believe, right? Yeah, I think you actually did it. No, you just did one. If you want to sign up, don't worry, you get yourself a slot. It's fine. Same with you, Calvin. If you want to do Christmas Day. So I took Christmas Day because I figured that's the least desirable one. So I put it on there. Because who's reading C# blog posts on Christmas? Not me. I'm not reading my own posts, that's for sure. And sorry, Calvin, I wasn't reading yours on Christmas Day either. I was reading it a later date. TBD Gamer would. Cool. Anyway, the other question was, Baskar, am I going to open 3 slots each day? And no, I'm not doing 3 slots in a day. We're just going to stick to 2 slots. I think that's more than enough. I actually had there's a couple gaps last year. You can see here on the 10th and the 18th. So I don't think I'm going to open up to 3 slots. You think Christmas is the day to have? I don't know. It's interesting, Calvin. I would think. I don't know. If that's the case, then I can move myself off of there and get it to someone else. It's all leading up to it go out with a bang. I don't know, maybe. But I guess it's okay for me to reserve that for myself since I'm putting it on too. You're going to do a video this year too. That's awesome. Yeah, this don't have to be text posts. They can be videos. They can be whatever. Just some sort of contribution to C#. It's kind of geared towards blogging because I really kind of miss the heyday of blogging where everyone had a blog, and instead of Twitter, you would go to someone's blog and see what they're up to. People were more thoughtful, I think, with what they would write because it took more time to do. So anyway, yeah, if you're interested in that, C# Advent, keep an eye on this channel. Keep an eye on my Twitter account. That's mgroves. I'll post that in the link. I'll do some announcements on Twitter, mgroves. Keep an eye on the CS Advent hashtag on Twitter, CS Advent. Keep an eye on that, and you'll see all that kind of stuff. You'll definitely have a chance to sign up if you want to write about something C#. It can be super simple. It doesn't have to be complicated or advanced. It can just be, hey, I got link to Couchbase working in ASP.NET Core, and here's how I did it. That's a blog post. The great thing about this is that everyone else who writes this post will share a link back to this page, which means that it's going to drive more traffic to your blog post, to you. So you're going to get this is going to give you a pretty decent audience. And there's some big names in here that is drawing some attention. So Steve Smith on there, he's a fellow streamer. We've got Andrew Locke, who's an author. You've got like Eric Potter, and lots of great names. Michael Eaton, Kevin Griffin. These are people. Ed Charbonneau, Caleb Jenkins. These people are well-known community members, and they have an audience, and they can really bring some traffic to this whole thing. So, I'm a big fan of C#, and I want to see people in the community around C#, show what they can do. So that's kind of why I started this. And also, it's kind of a ripoff of authorized ripoff of the F# Advent calendar, which is where I first got inspired. in 2017 to do this. And there's been other advent calendars since then. I think Bhaskar might have even done a JavaScript one last year, or maybe it was a React advent or something along those lines. So yeah, look forward to that coming up soon. All right, what else? Do I have anything else to promote? No, it did not work out. Okay, well, you can try again. Try it again this year. I think that's it for today. We're going to close it up a little early. Just a reminder, you can check out the webinar registration for later today. It's bit.ly/ASP.NET session. Check that out there and sign up. It's free. And you'll also get notified of videos and stuff like tattoo recordings. This year it's going to be JS and Friends Advent. Okay, yeah, that'll work. There's plenty of people out there using JavaScript. I might even get a slot on that, Bhaskar. All right, and what else? Oh, it's Thursday. I will be streaming on Thursday. That'll be at 1:30 Eastern U.S. time. And maybe we'll work on the bot there, or we'll do some more of the scavenger hunt. We'll see. We'll do something. Or maybe I'll work on my user profile content, my slides, for a week from today when I'm doing another webinar. So anyway, that's it. Let's see. Who can we raid today? If we had such a nice raid from someone else, we should probably go raid. Let's see. We've got a few choices here. Actually, Visual Studio would be a good choice to raid, except I don't think they've started yet, have they? Visual Studio. Let's see if there's anything going on there yet, because the .NET Conf is going to start there in 21 minutes. So keep that in mind. I want to check that out if you're going to watch the .NET Conf. But who can we raid in the meantime? Coding for Netflix? The Primogen? Please wait 20 minutes has started. I mean, if there's people in there hanging out and chatting, maybe it's a good place to start and raid. But they're not technically a team member. 145 people in there right now. So I don't know if they even really need the traffic. Let's just go ahead and raid the Primogen. The Primagon? I don't know how you say it. So I'll get that raid started. If you're a subscriber, be nice when you go over there and hit your custom, what's it called, emote with Calvin's head. It's the bada bing, bada boom. Michael Jolly, thanks for stopping in. Thank you, everybody, for the raid and the follow. Too many people to thank, but Light Apollo TV, thank you for the follow. Pixelogic Dev, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the raid, Pixelogic Dev. Thank you, everyone, for stopping in. Coding Gorilla, TBD Gamer, Michael Jolly, Bhaskar, Calvin. Appreciate you all stopping in, making this a great day for stream. We'll see you over there in the Primogen. Later, everybody.
Do I need to do this? Matthew D. Growth. Look at the shark! Look at it! It's the default animation because I am the best programmer in the universe. Oh my goodness, thank you, Matthew D. Look at that head. That is some serious Matthew D right there. And Calvin A. Allen. Does everyone have full names? Matthew D. Groves and Calvin A. Allen? How's it going, you two? What's new? Thanks for that raid, man. Matthew 59. Let's see. Let's jump over on your side. What's going on over there? Let's see. Let's check out Matthew, huh? Hey, Calvin A. Allen.